Hi, welcome to my drawing video of Trigger Mandala. So this mandala is actually the largest mandala I've done a drawing video of. It's 9.5 inches wide, so it is a bit wider than I've been normally doing. So when I set out to draw this one, I knew that it was going to be bigger. However, I didn't have much plans other than I knew I wanted to use some markers that I have. I have a pack of the primary colors in the Tombow are markers, the ones that have a brush at the end. And so I knew when I was drawing this that I wanted to draw it so I could use these markers, and it's been the first time that I've done a purely marker mandala this size. So I had picked all the patterns that I did in this to ensure that I could actually use the markers, because I knew that I wouldn't have a really small tip on the marker, like colored pencils, where I could, you know, get into the really small patterns. So this one I actually chose patterns that were wider and just bigger all around, so that I could actually know that I could, you know, use all these markers. So I didn't have much plans outside of that when I initially started drawing the outlines and then the patterns inside. And then once it was all completed, I knew that the interesting thing is that when I saw this mandala once it was in black and white, I was looking at it going, wow, this is amazing compared to the black and white mandalas that I've been doing, because it actually it doesn't show the different layers in the mandala, like the different rings, you know, have the inner ring versus the outer ring. It all kind of merged together. And I realized that when I was drawing the black and white mandalas, I was actually using the black ink to differentiate the different layers, so that it would just enable, you know, to be able to see all the different parts. This one, I knew that when I was going to add the color, that itself would bring out the different layers, and I didn't need to use the black ink to do so. So once it was all completed and I had it all in black, and I took out my pack of markers and I was looking at this going, oh, okay, I have 6 colors here, and I'm not sure I want to use all 6 colors, especially since I know that the orange and the yellow in this pack are very, very bright, and I didn't want to use both of them because it would be very overwhelming. So I basically just said, okay, I'm just going to use the 5 colors excluding this yellow. And then I just grabbed the first pen and I started coloring it in. And as I was doing this, I had to make sure that each layer, so each ring basically had all 5 colors, but at the same time that when I went to the next ring out with the other patterns, that the next color wouldn't be the same type of color patterns, or, you know, like I didn't combine the same colors, and I wanted each ring to be very distinct. And this is when I actually ran into some trouble, is because with 5 colors in a mandala this big, with, you know, 3-4 different distinct rings, I actually ended up using the red color almost too much. So that last layer almost merges in with the other 2 layers, like the middle ring there with the plaid type of pattern that I use. So I was a little frustrated with that, because I would preferentially like to have another color that I could have just made that ring its own distinct layer. But this way it actually ended up being almost a layer that kind of merged and just is more of a background type of layer than an actual its own distinct layer. But I mean, in the long run, I think it actually turned out to be a unique mandala in itself. And despite the fact that it didn't turn out how I wanted it to be, I like how it turned out, and it's very distinct from any of my other pieces that I've done. I enjoyed using the markers for the most part. They're different than using colored pencils, and I'm going to have to be aware of that next time I want to do another mandala with markers. I will be going out and getting a couple different colors. I definitely know that. But all around, it turned out to be a very vibrant piece, and I'm sad that the video actually doesn't show that to its best quality. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.